We've got a lot of ground to cover here in section 3.1, so let's get started. First of all, we're going to be talking about ratios. Now remember, a ratio is just a fraction that's in lowest terms, and you have to make sure they are in the same units. So in this case, we have 21 is the numerator, and 63 is the denominator. And so we write 21 over 63, and it tells us that is the same as 1/3. Next one. 24 defectives out of 80 items. So the ratio is still a count. It's 24 out of 80, which would be 3 out of 10. 42 men to 56 women. 42 to 56 is 3 to 4. Next one. You might be tempted to write it as 12 to 4,000, or 40,000, excuse me, but you notice it's 12 kilometers. Okay, so when we write the fraction, the numerator is 12, but it's kilometers, so we're going to have to multiply it by 1,000, and then the denominator is 40,000. And so 12 times 1,000 over 40,000 is 3 to 10. Same thing with the next one. We've got 18 feet. Well, 18 feet times 12 inches, because we always wanted in the shortest units, inches in this case. There's 12 feet or 12 inches in a foot, so 18 times 12 over 30 is 36 to 5. Next one, 42 hours to 66 minutes. So we have to change that fraction, 42, but then we're going to multiply by 60 because there are 60 minutes in an hour, so that we make sure we have minutes to minutes. A ratio only works if it's in the same units, 420 to 11. 24 hours to 42 days, 24 over 42 times 24, because there's 24 hours in a day, gives us 1 to 42. So that's how you do ratios, excuse me. The next thing we have to do is writing ratios that are compared to 1. In other words, we don't want our last number to be anything except 1. So in the first case, we just do 3 divided by 3 equals, and it would be 1 to 1. Next one, 19 divided by 17. Now we don't want it as a fraction, we want it as a decimal, so we press S to D, and it says round to 2 decimal places, so we would write this one as 1.12. Make sure you round it so that you get that last decimal place. PE ratio, price to earnings ratio, is just how much the price is to how much the earnings is. Now, when you do this one, then, in this case, 65.44 divided by $1.86, you get a price to earnings ratio of 35.18. Now, you don't put the 35.18 to 1, you just write the 35.18. Next one is a ratio compared to 1, and in this case, it's actually a rate. The reason why you know it's a rate is you've got 2 different units, and they can't be made the same because feet is a unit of distance and seconds is a unit of time. But we can take 28 divided by 2 and get 14 feet per second. Next one, 30 divided by 3 is 10 miles per hour. Okay, so on number 6, we're doing profit per share. Well, we've got the numerator will be 47.63 minus 45.57. That's the amount of profit, and it's over 100 shares, so our profit per share would be $2.06. Rate of pay is dollars over hours, so it'd be 722 19.38 divided by 38 hours gives us $19.01 per hour. The next one is a little tricky because all we're looking for is miles per gallon. So we would take 493.767 divided by gallons is 19.83 gives us 24.9 miles per gallon. You don't need to know how much the gas cost. That's just a number that's thrown in there to give you extra information. What was the cost per usable invitation? Okay, so let's do it as a fraction. The cost is $11,765. And the usable invitations is 6,900 minus the 400 that were defective. So the cost per usable invitation is $1.81. Section 4, we're going to solve proportions. Remember, to solve proportions, you cross multiply and divide. So I'm going to cross multiply 13.72 times 15.7. There's my cross multiplying, and then divide by the other number, 12, and we get 17.95. It says round to one decimal place, so 17.95 would be, that would round this up to a 0, which would make this 18. So 18.0, or just 18 is the way I would write it in E360. Next one, cross multiply. 18.6 times 12.69 divided by 20 gives us 11.8, 1 decimal point. Doug and Inga can deliver 100 newspapers in 1.5 hours. How many can they deliver in 2.1 hours? So 100 in 1.5, how many in 2.1? So on our calculator, we would have 2.1 times 100 divided by 1.5 gives us 140 newspapers. Next one, on a map of a country club, 1.625 inches is 230 yards. How long is it in real life? It's 3.875 inches on the map. So cross multiply and divide here. 3.875 times 230 divided by 1.625 gives us 548, and then it says round to one decimal place, so 548.5. Next one. In section 3.1.6, we've got some percent problems. Remember, percents are just proportions in which that are compared to 100. So let's look at these three problems here. In the first one, remember, it's always compared to 100. So the lower number on the other side is 100. We have 170.6. So this is the base. This is the part. The number after the of is always the base, 24.5. So now when we cross multiply and divide, 24.5 times 170.6 divided by 100 gives us 41.8, rounded to one decimal point. Next one. Remember, a percent is always compared to 100. This is the base. This is the part. Of is the base, 75.8. The other number, in this case, the 8.8, is the part. We need to find the percent. So we would cross multiply and divide. 100 times 8.8 divided by 75.8 gives us, rounded to 1 decimal point, so it'd be 11.6. Last one. Okay, let's set up our proportion. We've got percents on that side. 100 is always the bottom number. 87.7. And then we're looking for the base, because if you notice that's after the of, so 70.6 is the part. So cross multiply and divide. 70.6 times 100 divided by 87.7 gives us 80.5 rounded to 1 decimal point. So this is section 3.1. It's a lot to cover, but it's all you need to know about ratios, proportions, and percents.